Mm. Mm.
Sitting back in my chair tonight in a hoodie because it's still a little chilly. Because people emailed and said that it was very disrespectful to be in the, sitting in my chair and having the virtual background. They didn't like the virtual background at all. They said it looked cheap and cheesy. So it's not a production. So, but had several people actually email and say that looks very cheap and it's not doing right by Maharaj and these other sort of things. So, but I was very comfortable sitting in my recliner under the covers.
Yeah.
But I'm back in the chair. So.
So you were hiding that fact then. I didn't realize that you were like laying down or something.
That was just puffed in the recliner. Yeah, I had that's how I do like my work meetings. I'm in my recliner. I'm on top of a pillow. I've got the computer and everything. So
on my point of view, the fact you're there every 2 weeks, that's really, really respectful for Maharaj, because that's what he's expecting from you, to just hammering ourselves.
yeah, yes.
And what I'd like to share, because I don't speak very good English, but anyway, from I don't know now 3 years, 4 years, how we are together, and I can see, like I'm feeling is like I was an ice cube and gradually come in the warm water and gradually it's dissolving all the resistance and everything, and because it's so simple, so clear, but there's some resistance there, and to be there with you every 2 weeks, it's regenerate and have it on YouTube. We can listen it again and again. It's really, really helpful.
Good.
No matter the background, the visual background, that's really, really, really secondary for me.
Indeed.
The presence is there, and the power of the presence is there, and I'm really, really grateful for that.
Jai.
Jai.
So when you have your meetings with work, is that you have on the video? It's a video, so they see that you're laying down, or
No, you can put a virtual background of just like something, or it's because I have a black leather couch and then a black pillow. It just looks like a black background, and you can't really tell that you're laying down or sitting up or anything like that. It's just the computer. The last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever, I used a virtual background, which we had done years ago. I used virtual background because, well, I don't know why I did it, but I did it. And then when I moved to this new apartment, at first I didn't know that I could put, Maharaj is up there, but it's like a sticky tape because you're not allowed to nail stuff in the apartment wall. So at first it was just on, and you can go back to like 2021 or something, and it was just a big box, and Maharaj's image was on that box. And that was how it was, because I hadn't ordered any of the furniture or anything like that yet. I had just moved in. So,
Oh,
but now this is a desk with lights and Maharaj picture in the back and all that. So, and New Year's is coming. That's always my tradition, so to speak, is playing the Ramakant Maharaj videos, going on the YouTube and getting the playlist and playing it on the widescreen TV, and just like remaining with presence and just listening, and just that's my annual New Year thing for many years now. So, and I do kind of sometimes fall asleep, and then Maharaj's voice is coming in, then I kind of wake up, and I'm in that mood between sleeping and not sleeping, and it's just like just such a beautiful meditation to have. And that's a good way to look too, when you say, okay, New Year is coming. Of course, New Year, you're formless. There's no New Year, there's no body, there's no any of these things. Just to judge, though, like Maharaj says, where am I now? Like what of it, like Alan was saying, oh, it's getting less and less and less, and I know I'm dissolving. And you can look and say, okay, from last year to this year, am I less stressed? Am I taking the touch less? Am I, not so involved in everyday activities? Are there times when I'm really, really be able to just sit quietly with my own self? Do I try to remain with my selfless self, or am I letting illusory thoughts carry me away? And you absolutely know the answers to these questions. You say, oh, I'm much more non-reactive. Like I don't react as often, and I'm taking the touch less. I spend more time in meditation, and not even meditation, because sometimes I just listen to the meditation as it's naturally running through the body. And you can start to see the progression is, am I getting closer and closer to my selfless self? Or am I more and more and more being convinced of body? Because the conviction is going to happen. You're always going to be convinced of one thing or another. Either you're going to be convinced that I'm a body trying to become spiritual and trying to know myself, or I'm convinced that, yes, I'm formless and this body is losing its grip. In my everyday life, I don't have to put on the body to do my duties. I don't have to sit there and say, okay, let me go and do this thing or do that thing as John or as Alan. Yeah, I don't need to do that, or as Keith, or hello, Renee, Jagru. I don't need to do that. And so I can really look and say, because like Maharaj says, you don't want to be shivering and shaking on your deathbed and suddenly say, I truly believe I'm formless. I really hope I am. This is not the time.
it might be better better to have at least to be on a deathbed dying than like a sudden death. You wouldn't even, I don't know if that makes any difference, but like,
Well, I mean, there is no birth, there is no death. It's going to be conscious awareness of a body and no awareness of this body. And that's it. in sleep every night. You're in, quote, the death state.
Yeah.
And once you know yourself in a real sense, you could say you're in the death state, because you're no longer like, oh, this body, I have to, if this body is no more, I am not.
How would I know if I am or if I am not when the body's gone?
Well, you know yourself in a real sense, right this moment. Again, you sit there quietly with yourself. You feel this subtle, subtle sense of presence. Identity moves away from body and onto the sense of presence. Oh, I'm more like this sense of presence than I am this body. And the more you sort of concentrate on that, whether presence is or is not, I am. Because presence is just an object in your awareness.
So then that becomes the reality?
What doesn't become reality? It is the reality.
Yeah.
Everything else is dissolving.
Yeah.
The layers of illusion are dissolving. And again, to the mind, when you're looking at it from body-mind perspective, this dissolving, this dissolution will feel like an expansion, because you're no longer confined. You're no longer like believing that, oh, everything is in this body form. But it's not an expansion. It's a dissolving. Or as Maharaj says, discover. You're covered, you're discovered. Sweep away. You discover your own self. Because you are that. You are there.
It's funny is I talk about bliss fairly often, and but it's funny that I can't remember myself into a state of bliss. It's like it's either and even if it's where there, if I guess I start objectifying it, or start objectifying something or identifying something or other, and then it goes away. But uh, I can't remember my way back to it.
Well, the bliss, again, like we said, is a selfless self-intoxication. You start to feel this sense of presence, and your mind is sort of being trained. Instead of flowing with the thoughts, you're looking at the presence. And I don't mean looking like physically looking. You're feeling this subtle sense of presence because you have a body. So that brings a state of bliss, like sifting gold. If you went to a creek and you grabbed a little sifter and you were sifting, you sift the gold. And so the presence, you're sifting this presence. That becomes more and more and more of a fascination. And the selfless self-intoxication, the more you have, the more you want. The sense of bliss is just that sifting through, because this body form is available. But the bliss is your own self filtered through the medium of body as a sense of presence. Peace. A lot of people say, oh, it's very peaceful. And peaceful is just because mind is stopped, and not that mind is stopped. Flow of thoughts are continue, but you are no longer paying attention, and nor are you involved with identification with a body form. There's no local identification for thoughts to stick to. So it's free, it's clean.
Then I actually function better, actually.
Yeah, because you're not trying to pretend to be something else. Again, think about the clothes. If you had to think about feeling your clothes all the time, it would be crazy. I mean, I think you'd go mad having to constantly be like, "Oh, are my clothes on? Do I have clothes? I'm feeling these clothes. I want to make sure I have these clothes." No. Even if you stop and check in the mirror 100 times a day, it's still not like identification of these clothes.
So, like the clothes become space, or well, they become invisible.
Well, you don't. Again, you're not. Your sensations are not feeling them all the time. Even if you're in something real comfy, you put it on, like this nice hoodie that I have on right now. It's very soft and comfy. But and then I may have that initial reaction putting it on in the moment, but then after a while, it just fades away because I become one with the clothes. I'm not sitting in, oh, they're very soft and cozy all the time. I would look very silly doing that.
Just as I guess you become one with the world, and then doesn't
No,
it doesn't.
one with the world. The world is seen as a projection because you're formless. So becoming one with the world is like the world is within me. Again, we go back to dream. In a dream, formlessly, a dream world has come. And you don't really say I'm one with this dream. It's just this dream has appeared within my own self. I wake up on the other side and I realize, oh, it was just a dream. It was all coming from me. There were no others. And we
Well,
couldn't even say oneness. You can't say I'm one with my dream world. For a time, maybe you're one with your dream world. And then you wake up. Now you're not one with your dream world anymore. But you still are. World is gone.
could you say the world dissolves into the background of what's always here? So,
World dissolves. I mean, in a dream, your dream, poof, it just finishes.
yeah,
Here,
yeah.
body form, you leave the body, which is not really leave the body, but the body can no longer sustain the essence. And then there's no world for you. But that's because the individual telescope that you were using to see inside yourself in the concept of world is no longer available to see inside yourself. But like we said before, your funeral, your body is there. All your friends are around and they're saying, oh, very sad, very sad. But you're all the friends. So you're mourning yourself through the form of other. Like, I don't know if you ever played, I used to play with like Bionic Man and G.I. Joe and these sort of things when I was a kid. It's the same thing. I was animating them, I was talking, I was making little stories and all that, but they were dead bodies.
Sometimes it uh, seems or seems like there's an invisible driver behind everything that I do almost. I don't know
Well,
if
the
that
you that you are doesn't do anything. You're formless. So you don't have the ability to do anything except through the illusory concept of I am a body in a world doing something.
is. So the impression that there is some kind of invisible driver is still an impression to the body. Like,
Well, again, electricity. Maharaj uses the example of electricity. The light, the electricity goes to the light, and then electricity can turn on the TV. Electricity can turn on the modem. It can turn on the little grill. It can do all these things, but it's not like it's moving the forms, but it has no idea it's moving these forms.
but the form gets an impression that there's something there like electricity, sort of.
The form, no, the form is inanimate. The
Well,
thoughts identified with as
yeah,
I'm doing something
yeah,
or I'm moving.
yeah.
But again, that's the individual consciousness. Because of identification with a body form, you're identified with like this individual consciousness of my thoughts, my world, myself, all these sort of things because of identification with the body. When there's no identification with the body, then you're no longer this form, no local identification. This becomes your thought, so to speak. And you know that all of it's just thought forms, playing and enjoying and doing all these sort of things, just again, like in a dream. And there is no actual form. Only within the bubble of illusion is there form. Just as when you lay down asleep at night, everything seems very solid. You're talking to people, you might be swimming, walking around, doing all these sort of things, having conversations, but it's all formless. And you never changed form. You never became a form. The dream consciousness played, then you woke up and realized it was a dream. The waking consciousness plays, you wake up and know yourself in a real sense. None of this is true. You're absolutely not involved in any of the things that are going on inside yourself. And the sense of doership is created through identification with a body form and as individualized stream of consciousness saying, I'm doing these things. And conditioning and all that sort of stuff, but all that's within you. It's within the bubble of illusion.
One thing I did want to say is it was kind of nice a couple weeks ago when we had some other people coming in here, keeping the
Yeah,
conversation
yeah,
going, you know.
yeah.
So
That was nice.
welcome, please enter and speak if you have any kind of notion, you know. Something else I wanted to say, and I forgot what it was.
Mhm.
One thing I guess is I oftentimes get I think I get hung up on thinking that like the spirituality or greater awareness, or whatever you want to call it, has something to do with the world and my what I guess personal experience that I can somehow it can it does seem like it seems through at least through memory that it seems like it changes my great if I have greater awareness or bliss or anything like that, it does seem like it changes my experience as an individual. So it seems like there's a crossover that spirituality does have something to do with the world, but then in another sense, it seems like it's totally independent of what I consider my regular experience, like wanting to help others and stuff like that. I mean, wanting to help others naturally arises. It's not something that I have to, say that I should do. But it does seem like, so does this world of the real self have anything to do with uh, Is there like a crossover?
Does illusion and reality go together? No.
What's that?
Again, in a dream. In a dream, it can seem very, very nice, very, very peaceful. Dreams can be for a long time, too. You could be very helpful. You could get all these awards for being such a humanitarian, Peace Prize, all this sort of thing. And it seems really great, all the great deeds you're doing. When you wake up, you're like, oh, okay, well, that was a dream. And when you know yourself in a real sense, no matter how wonderful, see, you don't take ownership of the things that are being done.
Yeah,
For one thing, the body form, you will do all sorts of amazing, great things in the moment without even thinking of them. And don't take credit for those things because you know it's just flowing. There's no body here. It's just the natural show. I'm no longer throwing the monkey wrench in the show, trying to get something out of it or trying to make something happen. I'm no longer doing these things because I'm not a body.
yeah. Well, when somebody does give me credit for being a certain way or doing something, it does
Thank you.
it
To the
doesn't
outward,
it,
inwardly, thank you, Master.
well, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like it doesn't even rationally it doesn't make sense that there's me to take credit for it. It just doesn't.
Well, again, when, especially in my work through the program, people are always saying, like when the pandemic happened, because we were using Zoom for, Maharaj's talks, I was able to get all the meetings and everything onto Zoom immediately. Like we had the pandemic and everybody said we're closing down. And within one day, we had all 16 meetings on Zoom. Now, to this day, even everyone will say, oh, John, that was so amazing. That was this, that was that. And outwardly, I'm not going to say, oh, it was all God and this and that. No, I say thank you. And inwardly, thank you, my master. Thank you, master. Just like Sri Ramakant Maharaj, when anybody would say, oh, this is so wonderful. Thank you so much. He would say, it's my master.
Uh-huh.
Because without my master, I would not be speaking a single word. And the same, without Sri Ramakant Maharaj manifesting in that form, without knowing the sense of presence as Sri Ramakant Maharaj, none of this would be happening. And just like the program, had I not come into the program and worked the steps and had the spiritual awakening, I would have never gone to see Maharaj. But these are all things out of my control. See, I know because like when I came into AA and I surrendered, my life began to change dramatically. Prior to that, it was a mess.
Mhm.
So there is no doubt in my mind, and I thank Maharaj every day, that there is no doubt in my mind that everything that was done from that point forward is not my doing,
Mhm.
even when I thought myself a doer. And it's better, even if you're saying, okay, the spirituality is very great and all these sort of things. It's great just to say, thank you, God. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. I do that. I mean, so many ridiculous times a day for everything. Oh, the tickets. I have a nice place to sit in the movie theater. Thank you, Master. I had a delicious steak today because I was wondering, like, what am I going to do for food and this and that? And I said, oh, I'm going to go get a steak, I'll get some Doritos and some ice cream. That'll be perfect New Year's. And this is not body. This is just these things come up. I want to do. So I get this steak. It's so perfect. It cooks on the George Foreman grill. It's so delicious. Thank you, Master. Bowing to the Master all the time. And this is good. Even the religious people who are just going to church and this sort of thing, they say, "Oh, thank you, God, thank you, Jesus," and all this sort of thing, because it reduces the ego.
Mhm.
And when you're reducing the ego, when somebody says, "Good job, John," you're not affected. When somebody says, John, oh, this terrible job, you're not affected. Nisargadatta Maharaj said, if somebody says he's a very great saint, it means nothing. If somebody says he's a very bad saint, it means nothing, because they're not speaking about him, his actions, his activities. And that's that surrender. That's that constant daily, yes, Master. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. In the Bible, it says, of myself, I'm nothing. The Father doeth the works. This is ingrained. Thank you, Master, for this amazing life that you're living through me. That these eyes are able to witness this miracle.
It does seem weird sometimes how, I don't know if it has anything to do with synchronicity that Carl Jung used to talk about, but it seems like things, they just naturally, they appear, they go my way or something. Things appear that something that I kind of needed at the time just appeared or something.
This is good. But again, thank you, Master.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, I don't know what to do.
Because, like Sri Ramakant Maharaj says, things start to go everything your way, all this sort of thing. Then there's like this expectation that it's going to go your way. You
Yeah.
take credit. Then when it doesn't, you crash. Oh, so depression. What's happening?
Yeah. So it's not something you want to get like conviction or belief in that things are going my way.
Well, you want to have dissolved so that as life is going, it's just a flow. It's not me doing anything. My good deeds, my bad deeds, oh, this and that. It's just a flow. You're not there. We talk about the river and the stick that falls in, the stick of me, boom. River's flowing beautifully. Now all of a sudden the stick of me falls in there and it starts to back up. And then leaves start to get in, and eventually the river gets all murky and gunky. Remove me, and the river is flowing. Pure stream, everything. Even you can practice if you go into a room and you practice, I don't exist. That is really actually a very good thing. I've used that many times in the program where people are like, oh, they're having their opinions and all the opinions and all the opinions. And unless someone directly comes to me and says, what do you think? I don't exist. I don't need to put myself into any situation because I don't exist. When you're no longer in the body form, everyone's going to do quite fine without you. It's not going to, the world is not going to suddenly come to a screeching halt, you know? And that's no matter who you are. You could be the king of the world, president, you could be anybody. Many people have gone, many people have come, and bodies have been created and destroyed, dissolved back into the earth. And it's just that is the nature. It's only when you identify with a specific body form and say, oh, this is me, mine. I want, I want, I want, I want, I want. And that's even silly if you think about it. I want, I want, I want, I want, I want. I accrue all these things and I wind up in the ground anyway.
Yeah.
And yet I would do anything to get all these things that I have. Better to just keep quiet, be normal, be simple, be humble, be always with you.
Would you equate conviction with belief?
No.
No.
Conviction, I'm convinced. We talked about if somebody told me that my mom had died and I never actually saw it, and another person came and said, "No, I saw your mom. She's actually alive." That the belief that my mom is dead could be shaken. But if I actually go and I see my mom on her deathbed, watch her pass away, go to the funeral, see her put in the ground, and somebody comes and says, "Oh, I know your mom is still alive," I have the conviction my mom is dead. When I know myself in a real sense, anybody can tell me, "Oh, no, that's not right. That's not the spirituality. You need to go to church. You need to do this. You need to do that." I have the conviction I know myself in a real sense. It is unshakable.
The belief can sort of match conviction.
No,
It's
belief is I'm hoping, basically, I think.
uh,
You can have belief in the beginning that when you practice the mantra, you will know yourself in a real sense. This is a belief because Maharaj has told you, I believe this to be true. After I practice mantra and it comes more and more, the illusory layers are dissolved and I know myself in a real sense. That's conviction. I no longer have to believe. Belief is like a hope.
uh,
Conviction is self-evident.
I guess when I really like I feel myself, I feel like I'm being myself. There's no question about it, you know.
We're never other than yourself, even though you may flow along with thoughts and think that you are, or think sometimes I'm very in with myself and sometimes I'm not. No, sometimes illusory layers are covering. The fire is always burning bright. No matter how much ash is on the fire is burning bright. Remove the ash, fire is the same.
Just like you said with the flow, whether it's got all kinds of gunk in it, sort of a similar
Well, the log of me comes down, and the flow is having a hard time. Leaves pile up, and it starts to get murky water. Remove the me, and the river flows quite nicely.
maybe that's sort of what I was getting when I was talked about invisible driver is that I was sometimes I get a sense of that I'm just flowing. So like if I'm writing something down, I don't really know where the words are coming from. It's just kind of flowing into the next word or something. Uh, and it ends up making some kind of sense.